So you're working in collaboration with actor
Daniel Wu.
Daniel Wu.
Yeah.
Yes. So how did you guys kind of like meet and decide you were going to do a comic book together? How did that happen?
Well, he was brought on a little bit later. I started this project with my publisher, Carl Choice from 24/7 Comics. So he wanted to get something going for me to do my first writing. So we came up with a story mostly in concept and like basically just the broad strokes, plot and concept. And then when we got to a good point, it was time to start drawing it. So before my pencil hit the paper, I was like, wow, I don't even know what these people look like yet. So I called up Carl and I asked him, like, do you have a person in mind, like what this person might look like? And then, without any hesitation, he said, Daniel Wu. And I was like, okay, I didn't know these guys were Asian, but now I guess they are. So I started drawing him, like maybe on the first like couple pages, and I asked him, like, do you think that, like, do you know Daniel Wu, and do you think maybe he might be interested in, because we're using his likeness and everything, and so maybe it might help. So yeah, I'm very new to writing, so I'm always looking for anyone to come in and help collaborate, help it along a little bit. So we reached out to his people and showed him what we had so far and told him the story, and he was into it. So he came on board. So there's a thing that happens, like when you come up with these sci-fi stories. A lot of times they are just concept and plot. And when I started drawing it, I was kind of like worried about how difficult it was going to be to draw the robots in a robot battle. And I realized the problem there was that if you have just concept and plot, you don't have very much. I mean, you really need. What developed after was theme and character, and that's what Daniel brought to it. Basically, actors are always trying to find out, like, what's their character's motive and everything, and what's their motivation.
Right,
So,
getting inside their head, the background, backstory, and all that.
So with that, a theme and character emerged, and that made all the difference in the world, because now all of a sudden the story was about something, and I could draw these guys, like, for the rest of my life, because they became very interesting. So that's what he brought to it. Is in the end, this is a story about a scientist who is trying to achieve greatness at any cost, because he feels like he's been passed over, like his colleagues have moved on, even though he thinks he's smarter and what he comes up with is much more impressive. Other people seem to move past him, so he's really hell-bent on trying to achieve this notoriety, to the point where he has a daughter that he's estranged from. So in order to achieve his goals, he's making a lot of weird ethical and morally challenged choices. Some of his technology is being used for profit and fame more than whether they'll help society. So he actually has a daughter that's actually on the other end of the spectrum. So if science is sort of like the family business, she's on the activist side that makes sure that corporations use science responsibly. So they're kind of at very opposite ends and estranged. So this story kind of like they're kind of forced together. And then there's a massive gulf between them ideologically, and also the fact that he was never around. So it's really a story about closing that gap over the story, putting them through paces that cause them to come together and realize that they can actually be more effective through the world as a unit rather than as opposition. So that whole story about prioritizing family over career is something that Daniel can really speak to, because he left Hollywood at a very key moment in his life because his family needed him. He had an aging father and he had a daughter that was very young, and he put them first. So this story is about, I guess, if Daniel Wu made a different choice to put career first and all the ramifications of it. So it's a very interesting story that has that as the story engine, but also it has a lot of action and a lot of ideas and a lot of philosophical issues that have to deal with technology.